Welcome to Final Whistle Football News, the home of daily football and transfer updates. Subscribe now and join the community of true football lovers. Never miss a moment from the beautiful game. Tottenham owners inject £100 million amid huge statement on club's future. Tottenham Hotspur have been handed an initial £100 million by the Lewis family, who own the club, with the promise of more to come in the near future. Tottenham Hotspur's owners, the Lewis family, have injected an initial £100 million into the North London club, promising more funds to follow. After turning down 3 preliminary takeover bids in the past month. The influential family, who own Spurs through a trust and investment company ENIC, have now ploughed the 9-figure sum into the Premier League team as the first installment of new capital. Since Chairman Daniel Levy's departure last month after 24 years at the helm, the Lewis family have taken a more public role in supporting the club. The trio have been regularly seen in the director's box at recent Spurs matches, with Vivian joining the club on their summer pre-season tour to Asia and Butcher accompanying her in Bodo last week for the Champions League match and at Sunday's NFL game between the Minnesota Vikings and Cleveland Browns at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. A source close to the Lewis family told Football.London about the cash injection. They said, "This is initial additional funding. As the club's management decides what's needed to deliver success, more money will be available. The Lewis family is committed to backing the club to be successful." Spurs issued their own statement following the financial injection, declaring, "This equity injection will further strengthen the club's financial position and equip the club's leadership team with additional resources to continue the focus on driving long-term sporting success." This additional capital is part of the Lewis family's ongoing commitment to the club and its future. Tottenham's new non-executive chairman, Peter Charrington, added, "As I stated a few weeks ago, our focus is on stability and empowering the management team to deliver on the club's ambitions. I know the Lewis family are also ambitious for the future. Today's capital commitment reflects that ambition and I would like to thank them for their ongoing support. We will continue to do all we can to ensure that Vinay, Venkatesham, and his team are supported in the best way possible to take this club forward." On Monday, Brooklyn Eric and his 12-strong American consortium revealed they would not be moving forward with a takeover bid despite reports of a planned £3.3 billion offer and an additional £1.2 billion earmarked as transfer funds for head coach Thomas Frank. Eric became the third interested party to pull out within the past month, following Amanda Stavely and PCP International Finance, along with an Asia-based group of investors headed by Dr. Roger Kennedy and Wing FAIing through Firehawk Holdings. Despite rumors, Spurs and the Lewis family have consistently stated that the club is not on the market. Both CEO Venkatesham and Frank have publicly echoed this sentiment on their behalf, and their recent £100 million investment seems to further reinforce this stance. My second news is Arsenal sent Premier League title verdict as Jamie Carragher warns one thing may cost them. Arsenal are currently narrow favourites to win the Premier League title over Liverpool, with Jamie Carragher issuing a fresh theory after Arne Slot's men's drop-off in form. Jamie Carragher has explained how Arsenal looking over their shoulders at Liverpool later in the season could cost them the Premier League title. The Gunners headed into the October international break top of the standings after beating West Ham United before Liverpool lost to Chelsea. That was a third consecutive loss for Arne Slot's side, with defeats to Crystal Palace and Galatasaray coming before that. After a remarkable 7-game winning streak to kick off the new campaign, Arsenal dropped 4 points to Liverpool and Manchester City during that period, but are now on a run of their own, having won their last 4 while only conceding once. A 7th clean sheet of the season was secured last weekend against West Ham, with only 3 goals conceded in the Premier League. Injuries have impacted Mikel Arteta's squad, but signings made have seen depth options drastically increase and improve. Martin Odegaard was the latest Arsenal player to pick up an injury with a knee issue resulting in him pulling out of the Norway squad. While he has not been at his best for some time, he certainly has a role to play, with Carragher full of praise for his impact off the bench in last month's comeback victory over Newcastle United from a deeper position. Carragher has also been discussing the title race, and he has issued a fresh verdict on Arsenal's chances, revealing what could stop them from beating Liverpool to the crown. "The only thing that can stop you is that thing that's probably stopped other teams in the past, where you get to March, April, and there's so much hanging over your shoulder," he said on the latest edition of The Overlap. "I think what you said, we've all said it, they've got a squad, and when you look across, they're better than Liverpool right now. I never put my ticket on Liverpool, they'll come and do a bit. I think what you used to do, what people used to say, is 3 or 4 points off the lead going into January, especially. I think Liverpool could find themselves 5, 6 points behind, even in February. That latter statement is not a guarantee, however, with Liverpool struggling for consistency and looking miles off in certain games. A considerable rebuilding took place at Anfield this past summer, and the delayed arrival of club record signing Alexander Isak is certainly one factor impacting that. My third news is Real Madrid star admits to retirement talks after latest major injury. Eder Militao spent almost 450 days on the sidelines over the last 2 years. Eder Militao admitted he debated leaving football after suffering 2 major knee injuries in back-to-back seasons. The Real Madrid defender missed nearly all of the 2023-24 campaign with an ACL injury in his left knee, confining him to the sidelines for 214 days. Militao then suffered an identical injury, this time in his right knee, last season. The second ACL injury kept the Brazil international out of action for 234 days, leaving Carlo Ancelotti without his best centre-back for almost the entirety of his final 2 campaigns in charge of the Spanish Giants. Militao, who has since recovered and is once again playing at top form for Los Blancos, revealed he could not help but consider hanging up his boots during his most recent lengthy layoff. With my second injury, a lot went through my mind, Militao said while on international duty with Brazil. I thought about leaving football because it's not easy, but with the help of my wife, my daughter and my teammates, I'm here today to play well. The 27-year-old earned his first Brazil call-up since his return and will represent the Seleção in international friendlies against South Korea and Japan during the October window. For much of the last 2 years, Militao could only sit back and watch Real Madrid play while he was stuck in the infirmary. Being unable to help the team took a toll on the defender. It's been 2 tough years, with 2 very complicated injuries. You face the second one differently because you already know the process, Militao said. It's not easy. You have to stay close to your family, to God. It takes away your routine, what you're used to doing, training. Suddenly, you're at home, depending on others to help you. Thank God, I recovered from both injuries and returned to my best level, which isn't easy, he finished. Militao has been a standout player for Los Blancos in their 2025-26 campaign, bringing some much-needed defensive stability to Xabi Alonso's backline. The Brazilian has played 90 minutes in 6 of his 7 appearances this season and even bagged the winner against Real Madrid's 2-0 win over Espanyol. The centre-back will hope to translate his strong club start to the Brazil national team as he reunites with former boss Ancelotti for the first time while wearing a yellow shirt. My last news is Endrick to join West Ham. Real Madrid would be foolish to send Brazilian gem to crisis club. West Ham United are refusing to give up on signing Endrick from Real Madrid, according to reports, but Team Talk believes that Los Blancos manager Xabi Alonso and president Florentino Perez simply should not let the Brazilian gem move to the Hammers on a loan deal, with Endrick struggling for playing time under Alonso this season. Speculation is growing of interest in the Madrid striker from clubs in Spain and England. Newcastle United have long been linked with Endrick, as Magpies manager Eddie Howe plans to sign another striker in the January transfer window, and now West Ham, too, are being linked with the Brazilian striker. According to Sport, Valencia, Real Sociedad and West Ham are keen on a loan deal for Endrick in the January transfer window. The striker is fully fit and available now, but Alonso has yet to give him playing time despite including him in matchday squads. Kylian Mbappé is the number 1 striker at Real Madrid, who also have Gonzalo Garcia at their disposal. Journalist Graham Bailey has told Hammers News, a West Ham-centric website, that the London club have tried to land the 19-year-old striker twice before and are still keen. Bailey said, West Ham have tried to sign Endrick on more than one occasion. They were at the head of the queue in January 2025, for instance, had he moved on loan. They even asked when he originally arrived in Madrid, in case he was allowed to go. Endrick, I am told, was open to the possibility had he left on loan, but it was always about creating his chance at Madrid. The fact it still hasn't worked out, then, I am told West Ham still would like to take him. And if he is allowed out, West Ham honestly can't be discounted. Why Real Madrid should not send Endrick to West Ham on loan. West Ham are an established club in the Premier League, and the Hammers' long-term interest in Endrick shows that it is not just now that they have started following him. It would be tempting for Endrick to leave Madrid on loan in the January transfer window, especially with a place in the Brazil squad for the 2026 World Cup finals at stake. However, it would be foolish of Madrid and Endrick to agree to move to West Ham on a loan deal. West Ham have already sacked a manager in Graham Potter this season and are second from bottom in the Premier League table at the moment. Under new manager Nuno, the expectation is that the Hammers will improve and climb up the table, but there is always a problem at West Ham, and that would adversely affect Endrick. Writing in The Guardian on September 27, 2025, journalist Jacob Steinberg described West Ham as a crisis club with no vision and no structure. Steinberg added, "One well-placed figure says West Ham's structure is totally outdated. It is all about co-owner David Sullivan's whims. All about his mood. There is no oversight. Other board members have no real power. Every major move comes from one man, there is no respect for expertise. No understanding of how to appoint top-level executives. Would Madrid really want to send Endrick to such a club, especially during a season when they could be fighting for survival in the Premier League? Endrick is just 19 years of age, and while it is important for the teenager to get playing time to progress and develop, it is equally significant that the sporting environment that he is in is conducive to his growth. The striker, who scored 7 goals and gave 1 assist in 37 matches in all competitions for Madrid, needs to go to a club where the situation is stable and where he will get support. Endrick needs to be in a positive environment and at a club that are aiming for top honors. A move to Newcastle, who are aiming to finish in the Premier League top 4 and could also qualify for the latter stages of the Champions League, would be a better option than a switch to West Ham for Endrick. Latest Real Madrid news, Ibrahima Konate update, Sen Laman's claim. In other Real Madrid news, transfer guru Fabrizio Romano has dropped the latest on Ibrahima Konate, who is out of contract at Liverpool at the end of the season. Real Madrid's preference between Liverpool star Alexis Mac Allister and Enzo Fernandez of Chelsea has also emerged, with one of them available but for a massive fee. And finally, there have been some wild claims made about Manchester United goalkeeper Sen Lammens and Real Madrid in the Spanish media, with Thibaut Courtois getting involved. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Final Whistle Football News, and turn on notifications so you're always in the loop with the latest transfer news and rumors. One more thing, what are your thoughts on these updates? Comment below.